Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Tomasine. I'm a 22-year-old nursing student and I'm coming to you from Stockholm, Sweden. Today I'm not going to have the typical podcast. I have 2 podcast episodes out already, but today I was going to do a sort of autumn winter wish list, 2024-2025 wish list of things that I want to knit, or what I've sort of trend predictions for myself, what I feel like I want to knit or own, if it's what colors I've been drawn to, what patterns I'll match with, and some tools that I'm wishing for. So I'm just going to let you in on where my mind has been and what I've been looking at and what inspires me. So the setup for today is going to be that I introduce a colour or a colour combination I've been drawn to, and then I'm going to pair a pattern and some yarn to it and give you an idea, and I'm going to make small sort of mood boards that I'm going to be putting here on the screen for you to see when I'm talking about them. And this is not in any way paid partnership with the website that I'm going to be talking about, but I'm going to be talking about a website exclusively because I don't buy my yarn from stores or online. I buy them secondhand or off people, just like on Facebook Marketplace or other sort of secondhand places, like Vinted even sells yarn, so I buy from there. But if I do want to purchase new yarn, I go to a website called Garnspecialisten. Sorry, I've got mohair in my face. Garnspecialisten, and they're Danish. Garnspecialisten means the yarn specialist, and their website, they buy the yarn from the textile and the fashion industry that has been produced but not been used to create new sweaters or other garments for the masses to buy, and that yarn would just be thrown away and end up in landfill and be called dead stock. So what they do is that they buy that and they release it and sell it on their website for the lowest price possible on the market, so that you can buy it off them, which in turn makes sure that that's a more sustainable alternative to buying yarn, and it makes it very affordable for everyone, even if we're talking about alpaca or merino and mohair. So I really like browsing their website, and they've got big batches, which I also like. You can buy cones of good yarn, and I like to scroll through their website if I ever feel the urge to buy yarn online. They do shipping worldwide, so hopefully wherever you are, you can give their website a look. So let's get into the wish list. Before we start, I'm also going to tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my finished green tea cardigan, and it's a pattern. It's available on Ravelry and it's by Dear Knits. And oops, I haven't buttoned all the buttons. This is what she looks like on, and I've made her in secondhand alpaca, no, it's mohair, kid mohair by Viking of Norway yarn. So to our first colour, or the first colour that I've been drawn to, I'm going to call it ugly brown. And I know that we have chocolate brown, there are nice colours of brown, but I've been drawn to this sort of almost like yellowy greeny brown. I don't know, that's why I'm just calling it ugly brown, because it's not the nice chocolate brown. It's slightly ugly, but I like that about it. And so yeah, I'm leaning towards what I'm going to call ugly brown, and I would really like an ugly brown cardigan. The pattern that I've chosen that I was going to recommend, or that I would use to make this cardigan, is the green tea cardigan by Dear Knits. The only modifications I would do would be making because I'm wearing the green tea cardigan right now, would be making the button bands slightly thicker to emulate the pictures that I've put in my mood board, and maybe make a smaller size, because I think I'm wearing extra large, and maybe I do large to again emulate the mood board or the inspiration pictures that I've chosen. And as for yarn, I found on Garnspecialisten, I found this lovely kid mohair silk colourway, and the colourway is Sjögräs, which is seaweed. And I think that just shows the ugly brown that I'm talking about. And I would hold that together with their baby alpaca suri in the colourway Tång, which is also another word for seaweed, basically. So I'd hold those two together, and I'd love to make a cardigan. And that's almost, I think, what's going to be the next thing I cast on. We'll have to see. On to my next colour. I want something mustard yellow, or sort of a greeny yellow, also along the style of the ugly brown, a sort of ugly yellow. You'll see when I put up the mood board, or you'll see in my mood board what kind of yellows I'm talking about. And I'm really in the mood for cardigans. I love cardigans. I think it was Mariel who said now when she'd finished her cardigan, cardigans are great because I'm a warm person, and that means I can still wear my jumper, but I can also open it so that I won't overheat. I'm on a cardigan high and I only want to make cardigans. So I've chosen, I had two patterns that I can't really choose between, but the first pattern is my dream cardigan by Wool and Beyond. And actually scrap what I said about the ugly brown being the first, because this is definitely the first, or I might make the ugly brown, but this is the first pattern that I'm going to be buying out of the lot, because I've looked at that pattern for a really long time. It's steeked. I'm super intrigued to see how she constructs that cardigan. I really like the fit of it. That's what I really want. And as you can see in my mood board, I've put this picture of the cardigan that has a sort of matching scarf. Now, I don't know if the scarf sits on, like, is attached. I don't think I would want that, but I would want a scarf to match. Maybe I'd attach it in the back. I don't know. Anyways, but I chose this ivy scarf by Cookie the Knitter that's also on my mood board that I would pair and make it in the same yellow color so that they would be matching, and I think that could be really cool. As for yarn for this yellow cardigan, I would use the Eline alpaca boucle as a base, and then I'd pair that with maybe a mohair. I couldn't find on Garnspecialisten a mohair yellow or any other yellow tone that I like to go with it. So I have a lot of yellow yarn in my stash. I have some secondhand drops brushed alpaca in a yellow shade, and they're like mustardy yellow, and I have some left over from this for making this stripes in this cardigan. So I'd pair those together to make this cardigan with a matching scarf to pair or to emulate the picture that I found that sparked my interest. The next color is Aubergine, sort of this dark purple. And the pattern that first caught my attention was the Somme cardigan by Cookie the Knitter, and I love all the sort of the lace work in it, but it's still got a nice fit. It's not a tight fitting cardigan like many of the other lacework cardigans that I've looked at. I like her fit, I like the model, and I think that it'd be really nice in a dark purple color. I really love purple, as you can tell, and I like dark purple. And again, I would use the Eline alpaca boucle in their colorway called Aubergine, and I'd probably, depending on, I think they recommend a 4 to 5 millimeter needle, so maybe I could hold it single, or I'd just double it up with the boucle, but I think that would be perfect and give it that airy feeling, which obviously the pattern has, and that's what I want as an addition to my wardrobe. Now for just white, the man in the mood board that's me all winter. That's what I want to look like. But I've actually chosen to not make a white sweater because I have white sweaters, but I just tend to not use them, which is sad. So either I'd make a white sweater or a white cardigan. I'd maybe make the green tea cardigan in white, and then I'd add intarsia, no intarsia, I'd add duplicate stitch to it and make sort of embroideries, because I find that I don't wear just white. I don't know, it's just not my colour really, or I tend to not like to wear just white, so then I'd have to do something with it. But something that I would wear just white is a t-shirt. So I'd like to cast on the Boxy Tee by Wool and Beyond. This pattern is to die for. I would really want to do something along those lines, and I want to use Garnspecialisten's blown cotton yarn, which is it's called Råvit is the colorway, so that's like a raw white. It's like a natural white, and I like that for my white garments. I don't want them to be stark white, so that suits me perfectly. And this yarn, as you can see in the mood board, just looks super nice. And then I might even hold it together with a strand of their brushed mohair alpaca in white. Now that one's more stark white, but then they could sort of go hand in hand and be brushed out and become this nice fuzzy, like a fuzzy t-shirt would be really cool, and especially the kind of fuzzy that this man is rocking in my mood board. So that'd be really fun, a fuzzy t-shirt. Next colour is dark grey. Now I'm not the biggest fan of like a light grey, or then again it's like the white, I just don't want to wear only light grey on its own, so then I want something going on, like my Aarhus sweater, which is sort of like a variegated grey yarn. But dark grey I'm very happy to wear on its own, and I found the Saglan pullover on Ravelry, and the fit just instantly caught my attention. It reminds me of something from COS, who do really nice models on their sweaters, and I also found the perfect yarn to go with it, which was a brushed mohair in the colour Truffle, which also I love when the colour names are good. It's called Truffle, and it's this dark grey that I think would be perfect for this pattern. So that's what I want to do for dark grey. My next colour is black, and that might be boring, but I haven't knit anything black. It feels difficult, but I'd really want to give it a go. For black, I found two patterns, and one is the Sjögräs. I'm butchering that. It's German, I'm guessing. Sjögräs by Lana Grossa. And it's this sort of peplum style, long-sleeved sweater. And I have, my all-time favorite t-shirt is from Totem, and it's this black, I think it's called the Pemba t-shirt, which has got a slight sort of peplum kick flare almost to it, and I love it. I love that fit. So when I saw this sweater, it felt like something that I could easily, it would just fit into my wardrobe. So I'd love to make her in black, maybe a really dark blue, but I think black. And otherwise I'd want to do the Tulip cardigan by Melody Hoffman, which I also found on Ravelry. And this cardigan, on her, it's a shorter cardigan, and I think that's the way I'd want to do it, so almost like a bolero style. And I think it would be nice in a dark colour, and it would give kind of a, maybe a Sandy Liang or a Simone Rocha vibe to it. I love Simone Rocha, or I love to look for inspo along her sweaters. And for the yarn, it's again from Garnspecialisten, and I would either use the Romeo Baby Alpaca, which is also a cotton blend, it's got some cotton in there, and the colourway is Svart, which is black, or the Baby Alpaca Merino, and the colourway is Kaffe, so coffee, but it looks very black to me. And I think that those two could be held together. I think that would give a nice thickness, which is what I'd want if I made the tulip cardigan, and then maybe I just do the Baby Alpaca Merino by itself if I'm making the t-shirt. I don't feel like I need two fluffy t-shirts. It's going to be enough with the white fluffy t-shirt. This next one is fun. This is one of my favorites. I love a good colourful knit. So this, I can decide it's a multicolored as the colourway or a stash buster. We'll start off with just the accessories. I want to make a scrunchie. I would like to knit a bag. I'd like to crochet a bag with my scrap yarns. Here I have a few bags that I'd like to make that I found on Ravelry. So I've made sort of a collection of them that I will be putting on the screen and writing down below in the description. I want to make a Kindle case for my little sister for Christmas. So that's definitely sort of on the scrap yarn list, or that's perfect for scrap yarn. But I found 2 sweaters that I like, or actually 3, 2 sweaters and 1 cardigan that I think would suit a project like this. And the first is the sweater Wenke by Line Yarn Swizerland, which is already in this sort of variegated yarn. So you could easily recreate that or make something similar with your stash yarn, knowing that that's the look you're going for. Otherwise, the Oene sweater by Dorothy is really nice. I saw a lady the other day in town wearing a sweater with the sort of collar, and it was multicolored in a darker tones, but it was still multicolored, and it looked super cool. And that feels like a cozy project, and then I want my cozy projects I feel go hand in hand with sort of odd yarn or stash yarn, whereas elegant ones I want them to be one colour and the same yarn all the way through, but that's just me. And then the last pattern is a pattern by Drops, and it looks like it's an old pattern, but it's free. The link will be down below, and it just caught my eye. I love the colour work, and let's say if you have 2 or multiple colours in your stash, you could just decide if you have multiples of the same kind of weight, you could do this sort of colorway in different colors. I just said color a bunch of times, but you might understand what I mean by looking at the patterns, the orangey, yellowy cardigan on the screen. And I just thought it was super just gorgeous. I like the fit. I love the sort of, it feels like an 80s picture, the way she's sort of leaning against a tree. I don't know, that feels like 80s for me. So as I've said a few times, the yarn that I would be thinking would be stash yarn or leftover yarn, but otherwise Garnspecialisten has a specific sort of bundle that you can buy, which is called #STOPPAGARNSVINN GARNPAKET, and that is the basically stop the throwing away of yarn, stop yarn becoming dead stock. And it's a bundle that you buy, and it's got 15 skeins or 15 balls of yarn. You don't know, it's all sort of variation, it varies what type of yarn it is. It says that it has a worth of around under 100 pounds, but you pay under 40 pounds for it. So that sounds very nice, and from what I can see on the website, the sort of pictures or what the bundles usually look like, they have a good sort of hand in choosing what type of yarn is going to go into the bundle. Otherwise, they also have this lovely brushed alpaca in the colorway light purple, which I really like. Or they have a brushed wool alpaca, which is on the screen, it's the hot pink one. And then again, the Eline alpaca boucle in a violet grey. I thought that was really cool. And then the baby alpaca suri, which is red, which is also in the mood board. Now, after I've gone through all my colorways, I would like to just say, or go through my honorable mentions for patterns that I found while I was on this journey of researching what patterns I'd want to do, and again they will be linked down below. So I want to start with the Camden sweater, or almost a t-shirt because it's short sleeve, but it's got the sleeves with, you also knit the sleeves, and then I think you button them back on so you can wear them on or off if you like. It's by Ashley Adams, and I found this on Ravelry. I think this would work very well in the ugly brown or maybe dark grey. The next is the cotton vest by Elvira, and I'd see that maybe in like the red from the multicolored from Garnspecialisten, the red, I think it's the suri alpaca. I feel like that would be a nice vest color. That would be a cute vest. Then third is the Williamsburg classic cardigan. Now I've never knitted any cables and I don't really find myself being drawn to cables, but this cardigan did actually make me rethink cables. And the craziest thing is that this pattern is free. It's a free Ravelry download and it's by Wool and Beyond. I think it was when she did it for when she worked for Svart before she created Wool and Beyond, but it's a great cardigan and it's so pretty, so do check it out. After that, it's the Virveljacka by Fredrika Holmberg. So I'm guessing she's a Swedish designer, and it's the swirl jacket. And it's this cardigan, and I just love the buttoning or the button band that it's like closed. You can't see the buttons. Got quite a straight and boxy fit. Also like that. And I think that would be that'd be another cardigan to consider to do in the sort of mustard yellow color with the matching scarf that I was talking about earlier. Another free pattern, which I can't believe is free, is Sommarkoftan 2023, so the summer cardigan by Maja Karlsson. And this cardigan is to die for. It is adorable. I haven't seen anything like it. It's mixing color work with sort of a more simple cardigan, a short cardigan. I love the look of this cardigan. So I'd be really interested to see what this pattern looks like and how she wants you to construct this cardigan. Then I've been looking at the Big Bird vest by Grey Level Knitter. I want to make a vest. The thing is, this pattern has a big bird on the back. I don't think I'd want to make the big bird. I want it to be plain, but I love the placement of the pockets. I love the sort of different color seams around it, but I just wouldn't make the bird in the back. But I think that that's a super cool pattern. The last category, or the last step on my wish list, are tools and acquisitions. So I didn't know what to call buttons, so I put them under the category of acquisitions, and I found these adorable coconut buttons. So they're made of coconut and then painted. They've got an enamel on them, and they're by Garnspecialisten, and you can buy them there. And I thought they were so pretty. Otherwise, I really recommend, I tend to only buy secondhand buttons. I love the sort of hunt for buttons, and I think it's a fun thing to also, when you travel and you don't need to buy something big from a thrift store, you don't have room in your luggage, you just don't need another sweater, then I tend to look at their button section, and that's the way that I can remember my trip to wherever I was. The next thing is the Lumos knitting lamp or light. I really, really want this. I've seen it and it's gonna be really, well, it's already getting really dark in Sweden. So I think that having that during these darker months would be a game changer, especially if I'm knitting in the car. I was leaving for the countryside last weekend and I had to sit with a headlamp in the car and knit in the back because otherwise I couldn't see. And I mean, it was only 4 p.m. So I wish I could have seen what I was doing, but I couldn't. Then I found these stitch markers on Linda Hobby, which are shaped as hearts. Just thought they were so cute, and they're the ones that you can't clip on and off, and sometimes you want those because mine, the ones that you can clip on, snap open, which is annoying. Otherwise, stitch markers are something that I love to get handmade, sort of on Etsy or similar websites. Now that I know that I like knitting, I would really wish for the Knit Pro Indigo Wood Mini Interchangeable Needle set. They have these short needles and I think they're only supposed to be like 5 centimeters. I don't know, I don't like the magic loop method. I'm not so good at it, so it's not the magic loop method's fault, it's my fault. So if I can minimize the use of it by having shorter needles, which would make it easier for me to knit sleeves and other things, I'd be really happy. And then lastly, I found on Linda Hobby's website a round counter ring, and I'll insert a picture. And I've seen people wear like row counters on their fingers, but not in this ring shape where you like twist it I don't know, it looked like it could be smart, and it looked like something I'd actually use, and not these sort of small Tamagotchi looking row counters. So I'd actually be interested in looking at that ring and seeing if it works, because I do tend to have to recount my rows a bazillion times. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that the wish list inspired you, or that you found new patterns, that you found Garnspecialisten for the first time, or that you just enjoyed knitting along while I was talking about everything on my wish list. So thank you so much. Have a lovely day, morning, evening, week, wherever you are. And yes, we'll see each other in my next video. Bye.